in general, in a family environment like we both have, husband, kids, household, I feel like both of us take on more of the mental load. And that's not to say that Chris and Jace don't want to. It's probably we don't let them.
We don't let them. Welcome back to Her Circle with Nat.
And Maria, episode 3 already.
Yes. Really, really enjoying it, are you?
Yeah, really enjoying it.
Yes.
Got a good episode today.
Yes. So today's episode is...
The mental load of women.
Why we're exhausted as fuck.
I just let you say it because I like how you say it.
I always say the AF.
I like you saying it,
Yeah.
Why we're exhausted AF.
Yes. Which is very, very true.
Yeah,
With
it's
that
very
side.
true of both of us, but I think a lot of women will resonate with this. And it's not to say that men don't have the stress of a mental load.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's a selfish point of view of mine that I just think that they don't have it.
In my experience, obviously, you're going to get exceptions to the rule all the time. But who I deal with, no, that's not the right, like, you know, me, myself, I know with yourself, my friends and family and that I think that women want, like, overthink probably a little bit more. Yeah. But equally, you are going to get men the same. But,
yeah.
In my household,
yeah,
it's me that's always got that mental load on another level.
That's it. I think that's where I'm thinking of it from. Like, in general, in a family environment like we both have, husband, kids, household, I feel like both of us take on more of the mental load. And that's not to say that Chris and Jace don't want to. It's probably we don't let them.
We don't let them and never have, probably.
No.
I think also, you know, when you look back at your childhood, say, so like with myself, my dad died when I was little, so I grew up with just my mum from age 5 and 2 sisters. It was just all women, and my mum is superwoman, so she's always done 3 jobs, sorted everything, done everything. Well, she had no choice, but she was a brilliant mum. But it did come with a consequence, and I think that as much as she'll say to me, you know, you're really like me, Nat, you can deal with a lot. I'm like, yeah, but I don't want to be the same, because I want to...
You don't want to just deal with it.
No, I don't want to just survive, basically.
Yeah. You want to look after yourself as well. And I think that's what's important. It's knowing when to set those boundaries and when you need to step back and kind of look after yourself instead of just taking everything on for everyone. Cause
it's not selfish to look after yourself.
It's absolutely not.
Yeah. And that's something I think that I think with that mental load, and don't get me wrong, I've still really got it, but I try and balance it out a little bit more. But again, you know, it's one of the reasons I think why I always overact, because it's a little bit like I'd always think, you know, I'm pretty good at everything. Like I can multitask well, I can sort of thrive in things I do when I put my mind to it. But why can't I get control of my weight? And it was a consequence of
doing everything,
too much, taking too much on.
This is it, isn't it?
But then we want it all as well.
We do. We're so greedy.
But yeah, like you've just touched on with the control thing.
Yeah, I feel like I am a bit of a control freak, and I don't know if it's that I want to be the best wife possible. I want to have be the best mum for my kids. I want to be a great role model. I want to show them that I can do it all. Yeah. I can work. I can do what I want to do. I'm an independent woman.
You've got your own business.
I've got my own business. I can keep the house clean. Everything's ready when everybody needs it to be. Everything's in its place. I go to the gym. I'm doing it all to show them you can do it all, but at what cost? Because sometimes it is just too much, and it is a mental overload when you're just exhausted.
Yeah, and it will have consequences, as in, you know, like we've touched on other episodes, that it could be that, you know, you're not present, you know, not meaning to be, but because you're thinking of
your
so
mind's
much.
Just elsewhere.
And I'll say that all the time, and I'll apologise to my family and say, I'm really sorry, it's because I'm thinking of a million things.
Yeah.
And that, you know, it's trying to get that balance. We don't know for sure how to. It's trying to.
It is, and it's like, it's not even about knowing when to ask for help. It's about knowing when to accept help, because like
which is hard.
It is, but Chris and Jace are both the same. They're both really hands-on, like
Yeah.
modern men. They'll do the dinner, they'll do the tidying up, they'll do what needs to be done. We're very 50-50 in our house, and I
Yes,
know you
we
guys
are.
are the same. But it's things that, like, outside, my mum will offer from time to time. If you need me to help, if you need me to do the uniforms,
Yeah,
I can
that's
do them.
just
But
like
I
Jason's
think,
mum.
no, because then I've got to get the uniforms to you and get them back.
Again, it's the mental load,
And
isn't
it is, because the mental load, so how my week works is I'll do my, like, washing every day, but on Friday I'll make sure that all the dark washing's done, so that all
Yeah.
the uniform trousers and skirts are washed and dried, and then on a Saturday I'll do the whites, because then the shirts are ready, because on Sunday I can then iron it all.
And no
When
one else
she's
knows your
like,
routine.
just give it to me, I think it's not as simple as just give
Yeah.
it to you,
Yeah.
because by the time I give it to you I may as well just do it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think that's the thing. And I think that's how we can be, well, I'm assuming you're the same, that, you know, in general in the house, a bit like, well, it's quicker for me to just sort it, because I've got to
is.
explain it all to, but it isn't, you can't then moan.
No, this is it. You can't moan if the kids don't do anything, if you're doing it all.
Yeah.
And this is something we're trying to, get the kids to do a little bit more in the house, but not just because I want them to do it. I think you need these basic life skills.
Yeah, they've
but
got
it's
to learn
hard. Like, I've found it hard to let go. Like, oh God, it's
Yeah.
just easier to do it myself.
Yeah. And also there is that real motherly instinct, isn't it, of wanting to,
Just want to do it.
yeah, that's right. But I think that, this is something, it goes into all different parts, don't
Yeah.
it, of like motherhood and, as well
Home
as
life. It's more
yeah.
going into, like, friendships
Work.
as well. Like, knowing when, I don't know where I'm going with this. Like, the mental overload of keeping on top of life, but also then maintaining that social life.
yeah. And people not taking it personally.
Yeah.
Again, I think without realising, all our episodes are sort of intertwining. So go back and watch them if you haven't already. But yes, like with the are you enough and you are enough, and that, like, even with like really strong friendships, you can feel that you've neglected it a little bit, but it's not personal. It's not that you don't want to do it, but you can't literally do everything, and you have to.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's important to sometimes take a breather, sit back and think, what is essential to me, and where do I want to share my sort
Your
of
time.
load, my
Yeah,
time.
that's
and my
it.
load.
It's like not overcommitting yourself to people or things.
Yes, that's it. And that comes.
And you don't have to pretend you've got something else on. If you just literally feel like, do you know what, this Saturday I just want to do nothing, I
Yeah.
want to just be at home, then
And it's not personal.
you shouldn't have to lie. You should be able
No.
to say.
And that's something I've definitely in the past, like, thought, oh, I need to, like, it's like I knew I wouldn't be going, which sounds horrendous, but to certain things, but I would leave it.
To the last minute.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Jason would really shout at me and be like, why would you? But now I'm very much like, I will say beforehand, even if it's, I just literally am so exhausted mentally, but I think we've got that a bit of a top tip, haven't we, of
We have, yeah.
that you don't have to actually give a reason.
No, you don't. It's yeah, there's literally, you don't need to give any reason or to explain yourself. And we were talking about this. You'll sometimes go to reply to a message. It could be friends, work, family, whatever. And you go to give a reason automatically. Oh, I can't do that because, even if you sometimes lie,
Yeah.
you think, why? I can't do that.
That's not convenient for me.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's,
Or I don't want to do it. Like, it doesn't need to come across hurtful.
no.
It's just that, again, we're all just trying to sort of wing this life, get through,
Yeah.
be happy, juggle, as you've said at the start, about a million things.
Yeah.
And I think it's trying to, not be so hard on yourself that you
Yeah,
can't
that's
please.
it.
You're never ever going to be able to please everyone, because it's just not possible. One
No.
human cannot please everyone.
No,
So,
this is it.
yeah.
But you've got to please yourself.
Please
and
yourself and the
learn
people
that,
closest
yeah, it's
to
okay
you.
to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because everything comes with a cost, don't it?
It is.
That's what I think
Yeah.
I've realised as I've got older, that, like we've just said, like, you might not be as present if you're juggling everything, because
Yeah.
you're thinking of a million things. And
that's not good.
Yeah.
And that is something
And it's
I
looking
am.
after your emotional well-being.
Yeah, that is something I am really guilty of. I'm not often as present as I should be or could be. And I think that is because
Same.
my mind is always elsewhere. It's always thinking
Yeah.
of the million other things I've got to be doing. But really, when you think about it, is anything really that life-threatening?
Absolutely not. No, that's right. And
but you're threatening your own health.
Yes.
By being the way you are.
Otherwise, your body's in a constant
state of high alert.
Yeah,
that is
high
me.
alert, and that's definitely you. And that's something even through this podcast we're going to work on. Aren't we? Yes, I'm bringing that down. Bringing that down, because it is. You can't help who you are, but equally, you can start to rewire yourself.
Well, this is it, but I think it's fallen into that trap, isn't it, of you going along with things. And we've said before, like we've grew up with social media, and you grow and evolve with your business and the way you're doing things, and you get fast paced, and then it carries on. It's almost like a snowball effect, and it's like you need to take a step back and realise
what's the most important.
And what, like, we've had this discussion before, and I've said, you need to remember why you're doing it in the first place.
Exactly that. Like doing anything really. And question yourself, question your habits, question your boundaries, and it's never, very rarely it's about anyone else, it's about you.
Yeah, that's it, because so I'm sure Chris and the kids wouldn't, come writing letters of complaint and say, well, why isn't this back where it was? Or, like, people don't notice things.
Yeah,
it's
right.
you.
Yeah.
But also, like, what do you do? Like, what do you do to kind of give yourself, like, I know we've both been working on ways to switch off and try and ease that mental load and take that time for ourselves. Like, what have you been doing to kind of help?
So for me, there's two things. One thing I've been doing a long, long time. Second thing since last year. One is going on a walk. Mm-hmm. That always helps me massively. But the second thing is meditating. But I've have also incorporated them together at times. So I'll do like meditative walking as well. So you literally have to keep coming back to that present moment. So you may have noticed on social media, like I used to always like do stories on my walks. I don't anymore.
I've wondered where you've been. I'm like, why don't I see you walking the dog no more?
Because I want to be present. And to me, it was just... that was becoming another piece of my job, and so it's taking the whole purpose to a certain extent away. And my meditation, that isn't something I will talk about, but I'm not going to record it, because again, it's defeating the object.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, them two things, but I would say that meditating has completely changed my life and made me evaluate so much of me being present.
This is something I definitely
Boundaries.
need to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do you do?
I do go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I'll go to the gym 4 mornings a week. I almost get a bit obsessive about it. If I can't go, or if my routine's changed and I can't go on a morning I normally would, it really puts me out.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's become your...
I used to think it was selfish of me and think, who do you think you are? Like, you get to work.
No,
what are you doing? All. But I've realised more and more, especially over the last year, that it is so important.
Yeah.
And it's how it makes me feel then for the rest of the day. And it is probably the only hour of the day where I do get to myself.
Yeah, and switch off.
Yeah. And although sometimes I am guilty of still being on my phone, and I'll message my clients and things like that. And I know I shouldn't, but I think the rest of the time when I'm there, I'm working on myself, I'm listening to my music, I'm having a great old time.
Brilliant.
I really do. And I sometimes, once I get there, I think, I'm almost annoyed to leave because I'm having such a good time.
Yeah.
But it's that feeling afterwards. I feel accomplished. I feel like I've moved my body, and I'm starting to really appreciate more as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that, I'm 43 and I can do certain things in the gym that probably wouldn't have been able to do when I was 20. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's nice, like actually thinking about what I'm doing.
Yeah. So you can help me more with that sort of side, and I'll help you more with the meditative side.
Yeah, we're going to be so zen.
Yes, so zen. But the thing is, it is exactly, but I just think that your mental health, your mental well-being, everyone's got mental health, is
finding what's
priority, and then everything else will sort itself.
And finding what's going to give you that bit of release, that bit of a breather, I guess, isn't it?
From life.
Yeah.
And this fast-paced world we live in, it's even more. So you've got to find ways.
Yeah, to switch off.
To switch off for a bit. And at first, like when I started meditation, I'd be like, I can't do that because I can't switch my mind off. It's right. I mean, it's never quiet, my head. So it's like, but actually, that's why I did need it. I needed it more because I had to keep training my brain to bring myself back to that focus. And there's lots of different types of meditation, so there will be one that suits you, and I believe it can help anyone.
I've tried it before. I'll be honest. I did like a workshop last year for a group of my team, because I feel like the job we do, we give so much of ourselves emotionally to our
Yes.
clients, and although I love it, it can be a lot sometimes when you're constantly taking on board other people's emotions and feelings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then you've got your own to deal with, and then you've got life. And I just thought, you know what, we need to look after ourselves. So I set up this day, and we had a lady come in, and she did some
remember seeing
various different things with us, but part of it was meditation. And I did think a bit like,
Yeah.
what's this going to be? But it
I was exactly the same.
so good. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah. And the thing is, how you've got to look at it is, at the very least, you just still for a period of time, you know, but, and it's relaxing, and, you know, but it's really trying to challenge yourself,
Yeah.
you know, and go back to like a sort of having something that you're focusing on, like your breath or something like that, and then bringing you back, and why you're doing it. But there is literally like 10 different types and lots of spiders off that of different things you can do. So what might suit me might not suit you. So that's something, you know, we'll probably discuss in later, you know.
But yeah, I think
episode.
that's it. It's just find the time to do something that's going to ease your mental load, and know that if you don't get everything done in one day, like, the whole world is not going to fall apart, and it's really not a big deal.
No, and the thing is, even when you think you've got everything done, there's still then
There's
new
always
list.
something.
There's a new list. And
There's always something.
It's just trying to be kind to yourself, isn't it?
100%, yeah.
We're not literally super women, like, you know, as much as we want to be.
Much as we try.
But I think you made the best point about always reminding yourself, like, why you're doing it, like any part of your life, not just your job, anything, like, why am I actually doing this, and that it isn't for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and on that note, I think a top tip we could share with is, when you next say to someone, that doesn't work for me, instead of giving a reason.
Yeah, that's it. Don't feel the need to explain yourself. So just go out there, and if something comes up that doesn't suit you, or you just don't want to do it, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Just, it doesn't suit me, and yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
enough. So, yeah. See you next